Footy's back. Ba-da-da, footy, pie, da-da-da-da-da. It's all happening. This is Footy Unfilterated. I am your host, James Clements, back in the top 10. I did think about donning myself in all the Carlton gear, but settled for just the hat. Did also have a moment the other day going to Auskick and with the squid. And was like, right, we've got the kids' parents game. I should probably wear a bandana. That'd be sick. And I'll put on a jersey and couldn't find my sick Karate Kid bandana and couldn't find my Carlton jersey. I'm currently sitting here in the studio and it's directly behind me. I'm an idiot. Anyway.
It's right there.
Jim, it's behind you. Anyway, on the other side of this here screen is everyone's vaguely favourite Essendon fan. Another amazing week where they have retaken the number one spot in the draft. It's Jez. Jez, what's cracking?
Sorry, Jim. I was just cricket season's around the corner, and I was just getting ready for fielding in slips all season. So, not much, mate. We just another day, another massive loss for the Dons. So, yeah, the sooner this season's over, and I can worry about good teams in finals, the better.
Nice one.
In just before we get to the news, I'd just like to point out before anyone else points it out to me, we ticked over 8,000 days without winning a final. To everyone who's planning on letting me know, I am fully aware. Thank you to the select few who have already notified me. So please, you don't need to bother telling me about it. I'm well aware.
It's a big number. It's a big number. Anyway, what is it? Round 21 is now done though. So I guess we can say that footy's pretty back. And so we're going to wrap up round 21. We've got our weekly awards. We've got some YEAH NAHS. The ones that we put up from last week. We're going to talk out some of these awards. Like the actual awards, not our awards. The AFL's awards.
The dumb ones.
Yeah, notably, best haircut is not going to go to Andrew Dillon. We'll also do the round 22 preview and picks. So I guess we should just do that. It's footy without the ball.
Let's do it.
It's Footy Unfilterated. Let's go. Press the button. Go up, Jim. Go up.
Just dust and cobwebs, dust and cobwebs. They're choking me. Dust and cobwebs. Why can't I breathe?
Oh, dust and cobwebs, and he cannot breathe. I'll tell you. I wasn't breathing when I was sliding the wrong slider then. That was pretty good.
Jim, how long have you been doing podcasts for?
It is far too long. 10 years?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah, checks out by your professionalism and just the flow that we get here at Footy Unfilterated.
Yeah, it's just there's always one or two definitive screw-ups. It's very, very bang on. I did find...
If it's not you, it's my internet just dropping out randomly. So, yeah, I guess we're even.
My favourite, however, is like, listening back at any point to yourself. And like, as I'm I don't do much editing, obviously. And the one thing I always notice is that I still have a tendency to lean on it. I try not to say, but I've just replaced it flat out with and then when you start listening to other things and you hear someone who like incessantly says it makes you want to punch yourself in the face over and over and over and over again. There was I don't know what I was listening to the other day. It's like an NBA one. Like an NBA, and like the guy just kept saying and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. So now I'm super duper cognizant of being a professional podcaster and not saying as much. But anyway, Jez, the news this week. We actually have a fixture for rounds 23 and 24, which is good because it's round 22. All right.
Oh.
Good. The tickets are on sale tomorrow as well, I think. So, yeah, good planning there, which is awesome. But I think what we've managed to pull out is actually not a bad sort of run for 23 and 24, I think.
I've got a few thoughts on it, Jim.
I think they've still got the sort of weird trying to let it manufacture the drama is something that we've seen happen really, really, really well in NFL. College football, basketball, obviously in the NBA, and the way that they basically start all the games at once and just like let everyone go hammer and tongs on the final day of the season or the final week, etc. Which is very, very hard to do that in the AFL, however, when you've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to fill. And they've just gone, you know what? Screw it. There's not a giant amount of drama, really, to the point where I think you've got I think in the final round, you got like a Pies Brisbane game, which is very fun. There's conceivably, I think, one or two other ones, but really, it's like this week's game between Carlton and Kilda is like one of the biggest games of the last 3 weeks by far, which is nuts.
Could be one of the biggest games of the season.
And I think there's even Carlton, basically all 3 of their games
are huge,
are big. Same kind of goes for the Saints after they lose this week. But otherwise, we'll get to it in ladder check. There's a couple of permutations because it's still very, 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 very close. But once the sort of actual fixture came out, I was a bit whelmed. I was like, okay.
Is that it?
Sure. This is what we were waiting for. Fantastic. So to the point where I think the Saturday night game is like Adelaide GWS. You're like,
awesome.
Sure.
Thanks.
But then there's not too many other.
And they've also got Geelong and Richmond at Taxpayer Stadium at the same time, which I don't mind. See, on these time slots, Jim, I don't mind these double headers because if you're lucky, one of them's a good game. If you're really lucky, you've got 2 games to flick through and one might sort of peter out a bit and one team pulls away, which will probably be Geelong over Richmond. But if the Giants are still within a mathematical chance, then they're going to be throwing everything at it. So that game could turn out to be an absolute cracker.
Yep.
But again, I'm like you, Jim, I'm very whelmed. One thing I don't like the timing setup they've got for, hang on, let me just get on to round 23 here. I love the Freo Adelaide on the Friday, but I don't see why you've got so much overlap on the Saturday. You've got a 3:45 and a 4:15 on a Saturday afternoon where people aren't watching the footy unless they're going to the footy. We've just spoken about before you press the button to go, about our days, and mine involved basically being on the road and at footy all day. Yours was much the same. You were, domestic gym, cutting and hacking at leaves and stuff like that. But we've got things, people take their kids to their own footy or to games and parties and all that sort of jazz. So I don't get this obsession with doubling up there. And then on the Sunday, they've managed to condense 3 games into the space of 5 hours, and you're going to have overlap of all 3 games at one point. It's just stupid.
That's
space it out a bit.
Yeah, I think so. Round 23 is obviously condensed because they don't have Thursday night footy with the AFLW launch, but
which is fair enough.
It's also, as you point out though, we can also just chuck one of those Saturday afternoon, just run a Sunday night footy game. This is
and the thing is on round 24, I think they've done a pretty good job. You've got obviously Thursday, Friday, cool. They've spaced out the Saturday games. You've got a 1:15, a 4:15, and you've got 2 night games. Awesome. But then the Sunday, you've got Essendon and Port at 12:20, because let's be honest, nobody gives a crap about that game. Sydney and North, and mathematically, North could still be in the hunt. Doubt it, but still at 3:20, and then 7:20 West Coast and Hawthorn, which is, could be decide the Coleman medal. So you've got a few things there. So they've done that one well. The other thing I think they're finally starting to click that is going to help both AFL and AFLW. They've got a whole heap of double headers, which we posted up. You posted up on our Footy Unfilterated socials. So if you haven't checked them out, go and have a look. But there's going to be a whole heap of double headers, which I think is awesome and well overdue.
I love the double headers. I think it's fantastic. I think it's just a really cool sort of approach, and I think it should be absolutely probably expanded as they start the season earlier and earlier and earlier, hopefully, for the W. And basically just to get eyeballs on it and to get people who love footy just watching more footy, because that's
absolutely
good. More footy is good footy, I'm saying. Otherwise, I mean, not too many other newsy bits this week, really. Lockie Neal free agent.
Got a girlfriend.
He's free agent to be. He's just
You got
like
a girlfriend, Jim.
he's got a
Can you believe
girlfriend.
it?
Really? This is great.
Apparently, she's transferred from her job in Sydney to a Melbourne office. So, every journo who holds a lanyard has come out with an exclusive story today that he's definitely going to a Melbourne-based club next year.
Two of the
Which
Pies
narrows it
facility.
down to 11.
Two of the Pies facility on Friday, and then was like, playing against the Blues on Saturday. This has people in an uproar. I don't care. Like, yeah, he probably should do it not during the season. It's a bit unseemly. The same thing happened after we recorded last week. Was it Craig Kelly from the Pies talking about Zach Butters and like when he comes over and blah blah blah, and like, yeah, that's literally tampering. That's talking about another team's player while they're still under contract with another team. It's ridiculous and just shows the backwards nature of some of this AFL stuff that blows my mind, Jess.
I wouldn't be surprised if in years to come, Craig Kelly's diagnosed with CTE. Because I think there's, the lights are on, but I think, somebody might have fallen down the stairs or something in there. I don't know. Trying to. The
lights might be on, but it sounds like someone rummaging around in a utensil drawer a lot of the time. Right? I think that's when you hear him
or
talk.
Is it, what do you use? Something about a bag of hammers and I don't know.
So the Lachie Neale stuff is pretty funny. The Zach Butters stuff, like this is what we've talked about time and time again, how the focus of like free agency and trades during the season just sort of maybe takes away from the actual football being played in some sort of weird, desperate attention grab where I'm like pretty sure that a lot of the football being played this year by the very good footballers we can watch has been really interesting and probably can fill up the 3 days that we don't have footy at the moment, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we've got plenty to talk about. This might be, to be honest, this might be the problem with having like a complete dullard like, double R Gary Lyon on 360. Where it's just like, here are the talking points about the things that I've been talking about with my mates on commentary. And you're like, that's not interesting. Whereas at least Robbo, as a journalist, would always have like a very strange opinion about something and would also be essentially shaping what they're talking about from like a macro journalistic point of view. And then you go to On the Couch and you got a bunch of, God bless their cotton socks, but they're not going to be challenging like the Mensa attendees anytime soon for, brightest bulb in the room. Jack Rewalt speaking as slowly as he possibly can, not to trip over whilst reading, is always a good one. And look,
learning he can do that and yet not take a breath, which is amazing.
It's ridiculous.
I've never heard someone speak so slow for 90 seconds flat without breathing. It's got to be a skill.
It's amazing that he can have the panache and personality of a wet piece of lettuce and still get paid as much as he does. He's an inspiration to the children, Jess.
Yes.
Anyway, I mean, so that's kind of it. Like this is all going on, and because of this, we need some more stuff to talk about. And I don't know. I don't really care that Lachie Neale checked out Collingwood's facilities or that.
Nah.
I think the Collingwood talking about Zach Butters, though, is a bit weird, and don't do that. Like, this should be... If the AFL had a hint of a spine, they'd be like, you're getting fined. You can't talk about another team's player. What are you doing? Anyway.
If it was Ross Lyon, I bet you they would have fined him.
Nice. Right, other bits of news, not really much else out there. I mean, there's a lot of sort of reports. Obviously, the big one is of Josh Fraser and the Blues. The belting of Brisbane on the weekend was a absolute masterpiece. Like the most fun I've had watching the Blues play probably since ever. It was ridiculous. Like because even those 2023 finals wins, they weren't fun. It was awesome when they won, but during them, it was heartbreaking, edgiest seat, white knuckle stuff the entire time. There was no they didn't belt anybody in the finals, and then they go up to Brisbane in the prelim. And even then, when they're up 6 goals, you're like, I'm still not having fun, and that's why I wasn't having fun because then they gave up the ghost and got ran over. But that's their highest score since 2012 against Brisbane, somewhat ironically, and that has obviously thrown a cat amongst the pigeons with the Josh Fraser coaching search, where there's Daniel G in Syracuse, Corey Enright, James Kelly, and Jamie Graham, all currently being at least brought in for an interview at some point. And all Josh Fraser does is keep winning. And he's like, all right, I'm going to make a decision about if I'm going to join the search this week. And you're like, this is really good leverage. I'm just saying. And then everybody goes, but remember David Teague? It's like, they didn't go 9-2 under David Teague.
Yeah, I think it was a very different situation. Remember Wayne Britton? Yeah, no, I think Josh is playing it absolutely perfect. And it would be a very Carlton thing for him to get this team into the finals or the wild card and then into the finals and then go and appoint someone else.
Yep.
That would be, sacking Brett Ratton after making a prelim all over again. So at the moment, I think they should be telling him that he's got the job if he wants it. Yep. That's my opinion. He's done a great job with, to be honest, before you said goodbye to Michael, we were talking about them having a 5-year rebuild ahead of them, and he's fast-tracked that to the point where their list is at a spot where if they just sort of do a bit of a turnover of some of the deadwood and get a few key pieces in, they're on the way back up again.
Yeah.
They've got some absolute gun young players, and he's blooded a lot of those young players as well. So I think,
Yeah, I think
just say yes. Oh, well, keep doing what you're doing, Josh. Just get an extra zero on that check and an extra year or whatever it is you're aiming for. Just you're doing it well. Good on you.
That's exactly what it is, right? It's all that leverage for that one extra, maybe I'll actually ask for a little bit more money or an extra year on that contract. And so we're all, all on the same page and I can actually just relax into the role. But I think the biggest thing that I think has been pointed out well enough is that their game style has changed dramatically to fit the personnel and to actually be relevant in 2026 rather than the stoppage-heavy Voss approach. And the stats are backing it up. And now you've got a sample size where it's 11 games. They're 9-2. And there's just a competency about them with this new game plan that, it wasn't going to happen under Voss. It's happened under Fraser. If you brought in another voice now, it seems just very silly. So I don't know. Anyway,
Agreed.
Some reports from the weekend. You had Luke Traynor, which was that was the gut punch, wasn't it? I think
it was. Yeah.
I saw
bit
that.
Silly.
Saw that was pretty dumb. And Josh Worrell as well from the Crom. I didn't see what that one was for, but anyway.
I was watching that game, but I didn't hear anything about it. I think the other one was his name's escaped me. I've lost it. But there was a tackle there that I think was a little bit, how you going? And I didn't see the outcome of it. So you might be able to help me out there, Jim, but I've completely gone blank on it.
Well, it was actually Harry Dean from the Blues who had one.
That's the one.
My beloved Harry Dean, fellow ginger nut. But he escaped sanction with just a fine.
He did.
I think,
okay, fantastic.
Which is good.
Very happy to hear it.
Whereas, Worrell was something to do with Angus Clark. There we go. Striking. So.
Oh, yes, and he was concussed and will be out.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's right. I did see that one. I was more obviously concerned with the Essendon player.
Yep. Injuries, few of them this week. Jeremy Howe broke his wrist, which sucks. The Pies' back line was already decimated heading into that game. They lose Howe. Now
that really hurts them.
Perryman as well went off early in that game with a hammy, didn't come back. So, the Pies are sort of dancing and dodging around a fairly large-ish kind of injury list now. Same with the Lions. Kitty Coleman had a concussion. You also had Ryan Lester and huge McCluggage. I think it was Lester's shoulder, McCluggage's hammy. Both had scans. Both were cleared, but they've still got to get through training and stuff. They play Hawthorn this week on Friday, so fairly quick turnaround.
It's going to be a big one.
It's a huge game too. So the worst one was probably Will Edwards' dislocated ankle for the Swans. Jeez.
That was horrible.
Had blood all over him too. And probably one of the weirdest, most underrated ones for the Swans is my good friend James Rowbottom.
Yes.
or as I dubbed him, Cheeks, broken hand. And he's way more important to the Swans than you probably realise if you watch them.
Very
He's just
underrated.
super connective, does everything, right in the guts of it all the time. I love James Rowbottom, so that's a big one for them. Anyway, let's do some things from the weekend. Round 21, the game wraps. All right, Thursday, that was a great one. Collingwood, Geelong, 97-72. The Cats win it at a rollicking MCG. What we didn't talk about on last week's show was how they were going to do the intro to this game. Oh, they're going to run out just before they throw. They're going to run out and throw the ball straight away. That didn't happen, but it was weird. They probably shouldn't do the stupid coin toss in the club rooms or wherever they did that. That was dumb. But this was their entire thing about Collingwood trying something a little bit different, and the Cats agreeing to it, and the Cats came out and waxed them straight off the bat. And you're like, oh, that wasn't good for the Pies and their stupid warm-ups. So good job there.
You just feel like Collingwood are allowed to do whatever they like. You know, gold numbers and, you know, boxing style weigh-ins for the coin toss. Just come out and say it. It's Collingwood. They can do what they like. The rest of you've got to follow the rules.
Yep.
It's I'm glad. Look, you obviously changed your tip as well to the Cats, but I was a little bit how you going on this game because, you know, Geelong have been up and down and Collingwood have, you know, they upset Adelaide the week before. But yeah, geez, Geelong made a little bit of a statement, I think, with that one.
They got up pretty big early and then absolute sort of cruise control. But there was that fear that, the Pies, the same way that Adelaide got up on them early as well. Like they just reeled them in and smashed them.
And there was a few times that you sort of looked at Collingwood would kick a couple and then you go, oh, hang on a minute, maybe they're going to start now. But the Geelong they were really good. The pressure around the ground for the whole game was unbelievable.
Yep.
And they just did, whenever there was a point in the game where it was even, Geelong would do something just to break that sort of stalemate and keep their noses sort of well enough ahead that they didn't have to worry too much about Collingwood. And again, Collingwood, the injuries hurt them. The lack of rotations, I think, hurt them as well. And when you're playing against a team like Geelong, who are closer to our age group than they are to our kids' age group, your rotations play a big part because you've got these aging players there that you want. And look, Collingwood are no spring chickens either, so it's even more important for them to have the rotations there so they can continue to go with Geelong and their surfy, hippie, chippy young fellas. So.
The kind of fun thing for me watching this one was like Jay Polkinghorne just going out and kicking some massive goals where you're like, that was a really like absolute steadiers where the Pies would sort of kick one or two, as you said, right? And then the steadying influence of the Cats, it'd be like someone as completely unheralded as Polkinghorne who's coming to the team this year. And there was another one late as well. Wiltshire kicked another big one too. And you're like, this is awesome. So Geelong just held their nerve. No Jezza, no danger, no Max Holmes, no real problems. Like Basilenka wasn't really, like he had a fair bit of it, but he wasn't.
I think he had 28 in the end, but yeah, he didn't have an impact like you would have thought he would.
Whereas Dacos was shadowed by Ocean Mullen and still had 35 and like, was really good and everywhere. But again, the impact is like just that little bit lessened, it felt like. And that was a big win for the Cats.
Huge.
Freo, Dogs, Friday night, 78-41, tied at the half as the Dogs flood. And suddenly the Dockers can't score, they can't kick straight. And then in the second half, they just go, check this out. 1-2 Costa Zoo, 43-5 run. Suddenly Tracy's marking everything. Voss is getting involved, starting fights, having a great old time of it. And the Purple Haze, it's inexorable at times. And the Dogs didn't have Norton, they didn't have Cody Waitman. And they were sort of like, long travel, short week, we'll rest them. Probably hurt.
Yeah. I reckon if one of them plays, their second half is a little bit more productive. Bont, the other one, he was good when they were good, and they shut him down in the second half to the point where I think he ended up with 22 or 23, but he was on 16 touches at half time and he was having a real influence. And then they just put the clamps on him and said, nah, not today, old fella. It's our turn. So Freo are awesome when they get going. I still think the only thing that will cost them when it matters is their kicking, which they're getting better at, but they still miss a lot of shots at goal. Must be something with the water over West because there's another team coming up that couldn't kick straight either. But the Dockers, I think that's something. I think if you look at the positive side, the more it happens and they win, when they get it right, look out.
Yep.
And if you're playing them in finals, you probably would want them to have had that game where they kick everything before you play them, because I think maybe they'll get it right at the right time. And I can't see any. The so-called experts still keep coming up with all these different things as to why Freo have got these weaknesses and all that. But it's like, well, the only thing that matters at the end of the day is if you've got more points than the other team. And guess what? So far, they've managed to do that every game bar 2.
And they've also smashed everybody.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
So, it's finding a story for the sake of a story. Just shut up and admire them. I love watching them play. I even love it when they are having an average half, because you're like, oh, it's coming. Oh, hang on. There it is. I knew you were there. And then they come out and smash a team and you're just like, wow, this is amazing how they can just go, and the keeper catches. Oh, sorry, wrong sport. And just flick the switch and off they go. And it's awesome to watch.
Yeah. Freo turns out good. Saturday, we had St Kilda 88, Swans 107 at Marvel. I think we both took the Saints in this game. And at times you're like, well, this is why, right? Like, this is the Saints at Marvel, but the Swans, Errol was that good. And you just have that sort of moment of like the sheer weight of talent at points for the Swans is just crazy and really, really hard for a team like St Kilda that is still missing a bunch of dudes to sort of overcome, right? And then like they're right in it by the time they sort of pull it back in that third quarter. And so I was watching this with the Squids and you're like, ooh, they're still in this. And then it just went absolutely the opposite way. Sydney just grabbed the game by the throat and smashed them in the fourth quarter, and the game was over. You're like, but I thought this, what? I thought we were home and clear. Jez and I's tips, we're going to crush this. Nah, this is the Swans. They just they held their nerve and then just came out and gave them the old 1-2 Costa Zoo again. It was like, was it Cootie was kicking goals as well? I love Billy Cootie.
Billy Cootie, what a name.
That was a pretty crazy
He's up there with Shadow Brain for name of the best name in the comp.
And
so I think, look, the Saints did have their own injury issues. Obviously, we spoke about that horrible clash with Will Edwards, which is I actually haven't seen it, Jim, because they won't replay it. You can't watch a replay anywhere, so it's obviously pretty nasty. But TDK had hamstring awareness. I don't know about you, but I know where my hamstrings are at all times, Jim. And Jack Silvani was another one who went out. So they had their injuries as well, which obviously didn't help. But they've just got this. It's just the St Kilda way, isn't it, to be in a winning position and, wake up and have to change the sheets. So,
JSOS, he dislocated his shoulder. And this is just another, as we hit on last week, they haven't beaten a team that's ahead of them yet on the ladder. They're 0-10 against teams that are in the top 10, which is crazy. And I think now that the Blues have jumped them, because they beat Carlton, I think, earlier this year, that's like the only team in the top 10 they've beaten, and they play them again this week. So good times. But the Swans are just, it was so fun sort of watching them just turn the screws on them and just turn the game completely back on its head. Even halfway through the fourth quarter, you're like, oh, the Saints are still up. No. And then just bang, 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 bang. Off they go. Swans are crazy dangerous. But Rowbottom, that's a big one.
It's a trap.
It's a trap, apparently. Hawthorn North down in Tassie, 99-83. Basically, as we sort of called it last week, it was like weird things happened in Tassie. I had North Melbourne in this one. You still went the Hawks, and North kept it close. Like North, this is the problem though. Like North sort of just keep doing this, where it's like, oh, we're there, we're there, we're there. Ah, we're not there, and like they sort of pulled it right back at the end of the third quarter, and then the Hawks just rolled them in the fourth, and they just couldn't keep up. And I mean, this is it. Like, what are the 12 goals 11 as well? They just can't kick straight either, and it's just brutal. So tough scenes for the Roos.
Yeah, this one I sort of listened to a bit of this on the radio and watched the mini earlier today. It was dubbed as the match of the round, which I found sort of interesting. But again, you sort of had Newcomb and Impey dominating, and the Kangaroos are just this. I think we've said it a few times here, Jim. They've got to get out of this loser mentality, because they play like they're playing, they're waiting for help. But what they've got to realise is that it's them. They're the ones who have got to do it. Now, they've got a really good core list, and they've got some really good old boys around like Luke Parker and whatnot to help guide them. They've just got to stop sitting there and playing the loser and actually go, hang on, we're good enough to win this. We're good enough to beat. Yeah, who cares if they're sitting third on the ladder or wherever they are? Do we want to play finals or not? Well, if we want to play finals, we've got to win games like this when they're within our reach. And they did the same thing against the Saints a week before.
Yeah.
I think it's as much as we both had North finishing lower with less wins, the way they've played early in the season and what they've shown they can do, I think they should be disappointed with this loss, as much as Hawthorn are probably like, we probably should have beaten the shit out of them, but we didn't.
Yeah.
I've gone from being impressed by North taking a step to being frustrated by how much better they could and how much better their season could have been if they just believed in themselves a bit more. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 straight losses for North when there was like, they're in the top 10, they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and then lose this to Hawthorn, lose to the Saints prior, Melbourne, Collingwood, Port Adelaide is the real killer. And like before that had beaten Essendon, Richmond, scraped over the line against West Coast, got their heads kicked in that Freo game out west. And so it hasn't been happy hunting really for the Roos at all. Whereas the Hawks, look, feeling pretty good. The Wizard crushing it, and they're just sort of continuing a pace. We'll talk about them in the ladder check. Port Adelaide host GWS 63-75. This was not a great one. They were getting they were up in the second quarter with the power, and the Giants just sort of settled in, took control, and then just never let them back into it. And they kicked 3 goals in the entire second half. And whereas GWS tried their hardest to sort of give it away in the fourth quarter by kicking exactly 0 goals themselves, they managed to hold on anyway. So I don't know, GWS still the most sort of, Jekyll and Hyde team going in the AFL.
I decided that I'd call this one the WGAF Cup, because I certainly don't, and I had no interest in this game other than to check the score every now and again. I think this is the first of a couple of games coming up in the next few rounds that I just don't care.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm glad. Good on you, GWS, but I couldn't give a stuff who won or lost this one. So
there's still a chance. There's still a chance of making finals. They're gonna play.
And that's the only thing that gave me a vague amount of interest in this game, was that they're keeping their very, very slim hopes alive. And the funniest thing ever would be if St Kilda and Carlton missed and the Giants made it. But I can't see it happening, Jim. But geez, it'd be funny. For me, anyway.
Pretty good chance of it actually happening. They host GWS host Gold Coast, who are playing the worst of anybody in the AFL. Then they host West Coast.
That could be it.
And then
GWS Gold Coast could be a 0-0 draw. It could be a soccer game, Jim.
And then the final week they have Adelaide in Adelaide, and they
should play it at Amy Park. That's what they should do. Just
sign me up.
Play it at Amy Park. We'll get some flares and.
Then we had
Break some seats.
Carlton 154, Brisbane 78. This was wild. Absolutely wild. Sitting in the pub watching this with a mate and just like losing my mind going, I don't know what's happening because I think we'd walked in and the Blues were down early and I'm like, oh, I don't know how long I'm going to last. And then bang, 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 bang. It was like 5 goals straight, I think. And I'm like, did I get hit by a car crossing the road? Like, this is amazing. Like, I could not believe it. And then sitting in the pub, so we're in Carlton as well. So there's a fair whack of Carlton supporters in there. It's getting pretty rowdy. It's very fun. And I try to not get the hopes up because I'm like, I know how quickly Brisbane can score. I know how quickly Carlton concede goals. What is the maths for how many goals left do they need to kick to minutes left? Do you think you're actually safe in a game like this, Jez? What do you reckon?
The old Lee Matthews theory. If there's more minutes than goals required, you can still win.
Yep. So it came down to probably those final 10 minutes in that fourth quarter, and then I'm like, I think we're okay. I don't think we're going to concede 10 goals in the next 10 minutes. But even then, I'm going to wait till it gets underneath 8 minutes and we might be all right. So this is just like the pall that just sort of sits over the top of Carlton fans of just like, oh, God, please don't blow this. But it was their highest score that they've kicked since 2012, which came against Brisbane back then as well. Amazing. But I think the weirdest part was how quickly it happened and how easily it happened for the Blues. Like Brodie Kemp, we ragged on him last week. He was awesome this week. And the flip side of that is the Brisbane defense where they've just got no dudes left. Like it's completely decimated. It's like Harris Andrews and Ryan Lester, and he got hurt. So I think it's the 8th time this year that Brisbane have given up over 100 points. 8 times. They'd only done it 8 times in their previous 58 games. So, yeah.
I see they tried Hipwood, Eric Hipwood down there, which is, you're always... Yeah, he doesn't strike me as the type of fella who's going to, give someone an ear massage. So I think he's a little bit out of place. I was listening to this one on the way back from Ballarat, and the commentary team on Triple M were going off, and I was equally, obviously had a few tins under my belt, Jim. And me and my mate who was in the car were, quite loud. My wife was very impressed driving both of us home. She was very impressed with with the noise we were making there, but. Every time they kicked a goal, we were sort of mid-conversation. So we were definitely on the Carlton train then. But I couldn't believe it. 16 individual goal kickers, Jim. I think that equals the AFL record. And had they managed to snag one more from another player, that would have been an AFL record. But wow, what a absolute one out of the... I know you obviously tipped the Blues to cover with, the confidence that they might keep it close, but I don't think anyone would have picked that result.
So
anyone at all.
I ran into a fellow school dad at Auskick that morning. He had the Lions scarf on, and we're chatting. I'm like, "Are you going to go to the game tonight?" He's like, "I actually can't make it to this one, but I've got mates. We're all going to the final one that they've got down here." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool." He's like, "You going to go? You're a Blues fan?" I'm like, I don't know, still tossing it up. We might go, we might just watch at the pub. He's like, yeah, the pub might be a good decision. I'm like, yeah. Spewing I didn't go. But of course, if I had have gone, Jez, this is the rock and a hard place. Like they would have gotten their heads kicked in. So just as well I watched the pub.
I was in the same boat when we played GWS and got our win. I'm certain that had I gone, we would not have won that game.
To the point
and that's why I'm not going to another one.
I might next week be watching the extremely pivotal Saints Carlton game at that same pub because we've now got a winning vibe there and I associate it with good things. So I'm just saying, next Sunday night,
look out,
7:20 start. Your mate Jim might just be down the pub. Anyway, good win, amazing win, keeps Carlton alive.
Yes.
They're in the 10 spot. We'll talk about the ladder in a second. Sunday, Richmond beat West Coast at the G in hilarious fashion. Sam Lawler was absolutely incredible, but West Coast just took out like a 9mm and just one after the other just blasted their own foot time and time again, like their Plaxico Burris in a New York nightclub. 9 goals, 19. and started 3 goals 17.
Yeah, it was. I was following this one along at my son's game, and we were, regularly checking in. And what the was the common response when I would read out? West Coast are 3 goals 17. They're like, huh? Jake Waterman's kicked 2-6. He's no good. I think that was said a lot. Yeah, well, he's definitely showing that he can get the footy, but what he does with it, that's a whole nother kettle of fish.
Crazy.
Geez, that's ordinary. And I saw a bit today as I was sort of scrolling through all the socials of West Coast player, Dersmer in tears and all the carry on about this, that and the other. It's like, look, yes, it sucks, but they're just kids.
Mm.
And that's the reality. It was kids against kids, and the ones that kicked straighter won. Although Tom Lynch did his best to try and win the game for West Coast with 2 goals 4.
He's amazing.
I don't think there's really any alarm bells for West Coast, because if you look at that scoreline, they could quite easily have been 19-9 and won the game by 10 goals.
And should have been. Lawler's amazing though.
Probably should have been. Yeah.
Then we had the track bowl, the Petrarca Bowl, Gold Coast hosting Melbourne, 105-114. And tell you what, Jez, my beloved Suns have just, wow, do they stink. It is. The vibes are so off. It's just.
The vibes off, but I think this is one of their better outings in recent times. They were up by a point, or down by a point, I think it was at 3/4 time. So I watched the last quarter of this game and have watched the mini, and I don't think they were as bad as they have been. I think the fact that Melbourne are in a better run of form probably had a bit more to do with the loss, but they still do. Mac Andrew had a great game, but he just does some stupid stuff. Like, he gives away 50-metre penalties at crucial times far too often. And it looks like Ben King's, wherever he's signed, whether it's at Hawthorn, Collingwood or Geelong, it looks like he's already got half his stuff moved in, because he's obviously, and it looks like they've actually replaced him with Jed Walter as their focal point. Which, and to be fair, Jed's been pretty good. Your beloved son, Jed Walter,
my grown adult son, Jed Walter. He was awesome in that game.
Yeah, and look, he has been one of the shining lights in their losing streak. But yeah, this one wasn't as, it was actually not a bad game from what I saw of it. Melbourne are just a better side at the moment. That's what it came down to. They had a bit more desire and probably that, when teams get into a losing streak, it can be really hard to win a game. And I think that's where Gold Coast found themselves. They sort of had themselves in a position where they could have, if it was the Gold Coast Suns of round 3, they probably would have ended up running away with it. But here we are with 3 games to go, and they're definitely not that side.
Yeah, I was watching this standing up for basically the entire second half, just sort of pacing around the living room, watching this at the in-laws' house. And it was a really, really entertaining sort of like tussle. But the Suns are just, there is zero confidence, as you hit on, right? Like, there's zero confidence in themselves, and it's like, it's feeding into itself, really, like that sort of lack of confidence and the ability to sort of dictate terms. They just don't have it. And yeah, I think it's all the footy gods. Like, they were 7-3, absolutely flying. They sort of go, we don't know if we want to play in Darwin that much. Boom, they haven't won since after they came back from Darwin. Yep. It's like this, you brought this on yourselves. You've got the fortress of Darwin. You sort of start doubting it, going, no, I don't know about that. Boom, guess what? Shut up. Play in Darwin, you idiots. Anyway, good win for the Ds. And then finally, Essendon 73, Adelaide 145. This was just it
was what was expected.
Head kicking.
And I do have one point I need to make. All the media need to just, and not you, not including you, Jim.
Okay.
They just need to just get over it. They're carrying on about how Essendon didn't fire a shot and that. Have you watched us all year? We fired a shot twice this year. I actually thought there was a period of play in the second quarter where they blew us away, and from there they just showed that they were a better side. That's all it was. We're a young side. We're crap, but hopefully we'll get better. Not sure when, but the fingers are crossed. I'm just hoping it doesn't get to 10,000 days. But there was a few shining lights. Some of our young kids did some really good stuff. 2 metre Peter was good. Nate Caddy he's going to be one of those frustrating enigmas for the next couple of years, I think, while he gets his game and his development right and works out how to play with the guys in his side. Dyson Sharp was amazing. He had a ton of contested footy. So you got to take the positives out of this, because the reality is, if we win a game from here, all we're doing is costing ourselves probably the best ruckman in the under-18s at the moment, who's tipped to be pick 3. It'll end up being Jim because of all the father-son stuff with Cody Walker and I forget who the other one is.
Dougie Cochrane, isn't it?
That's the one, yep. So I think he's an academy pick. So, and I think Harry Van Haddam is by a mile the best. I think he's tipped to be what would be the number 1 pick, and he's a ruckman, a mobile ruckman. And to be honest, we need a mobile ruckman. We've got Nick Bryan, and he's doing a good job, but every club needs 2 of them so they can, you chop each other out. So I think I just wonder what they want. Like, do they want Essendon just to not be the story that keeps on writing itself? Because they seem to complain a lot about what Essendon are doing, yet it's filling their it's filling their notepads with articles that seem to be very repetitive. But yeah, I think they just need to get over it and move on. That'll be the best thing about the season ending, Jim, is that we don't have to hear about them not firing a shot this week.
Nice. Flip side, Adelaide were really good, and
Thriller. Yes, I should acknowledge that, Jim.
Thriller crushed it. Rankin was really good. Dawson had 30 touches, and it was just a resounding deliverance of the SmackDown coming over, playing at Marvel, and just smashing a team that you should smash.
Yep.
Right, ladder check at the bottom. Start at the bottom. We're back. Essendon.
Number 1, pick.
Number 1 with a bullet. To put them down. There you go. That's 2 and 18. Then you got Richmond and the Eagles ahead of them, 3 and 4 wins respectively. Port in 15th with 6 and 14. Then you got the Suns at 7 and 13. Then North still, I believe, mathematically alive with the 8 and 12 record.
Highly unlikely.
Having lost 5 straight, I don't feel great about it. Then you got GWS and the Saints though, both 9-11. And with the Blues, they're standing alone in 10th. They're the 3 teams that can get to 10th, essentially. And so much of it comes down to this Saints-Carlton game in a minute that we'll talk about that's just crazy. So, I don't know. There you go. Blues back in the top 10, 10 and 10. Remarkable turnaround after the 1 and 8 start. What is it, 9 and 2 under Josh Fraser. Incredible gear. And then we go to the Pies. They're 11, 8 and 1 in 46. Tough loss to the Cats. They do have the Eagles this week though, so still got a bit of pressure on, to push up and up and up and up into the 7-8 spots, because the Dogs and the Cats are 7 and 8 at 12 and 8. A game back of the 4, 5, 6 teams. And the Cats have got Essendon this week. The Dogs are good.
The Cats are probably the only chance to get into that top 6, because the Dogs' percentage is horrid. And if any of those teams above Carlton, I think they're the one that could miss out. I don't think they will, but if the stars aligned, as they say, and Ross can manage to stop growling at reporters and actually coach his team to a win over a team in the top 10, that's the only one I can see really as a massive left field one. I think, and we'll talk about it, obviously, it's pretty set, but I can't see the Pies have got that half game, but I just don't think they're playing well enough. So, sorry, you were about to say who the Dogs have got coming up.
Yeah, well, they got North, right? And so the tricky part is that is a tricky game as well, because you might think, oh, that's all right, but North, 5 straight losses, Marvel, who knows what could happen. But Melbourne as well play Freo this week. I think it's over here though. So who knows what could happen there? If you win, maybe they can, both Geelong and Western Bulldogs can jump ahead of Melbourne. But because of the percentage, they won't jump ahead of them. That's the biggest problem. So they really need to start laying the smackdown on some of these teams. And it's going to be hard because the Dogs have just been, like, they're another one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams to a horrifying degree where it feels like they can beat anybody and lose to anybody. It's like them and GWS, right? Like, and it's the sort of cost of not smashing a team like West Coast a few weeks ago, or like they beat Richmond by like 50 odd, but they lose.
Well, even Essendon, they only beat us by 5 goals back in.
Yep.
Back when they were actually playing, when they were sort of just at the tail end of their awesome start of the season, and it was the game against us where they actually copped those injuries and their sort of luck turned 180 and they sort of headed on that downhill slope. That they were lucky enough to get some of those players back and arrest the slide. But yeah, it's really that percentage loss has really put them in a vulnerable spot. As I said, I don't think they're going to miss. I also don't think they're going to make the top 6. I think they're pretty much where they are, where they're going to be. But
well, all three.
Geelong are an interesting one too. Like you said, they've got Essendon. That could quite easily be, an extra 10% on their, which that gives them a shot at. And we'll obviously get to that in a minute. I'm jumping the gun a bit, which is unlike me. But that could set them up for a top 4 finish.
Yep.
So
yeah, well, the Dogs are interesting because all 3 of their games are big, right? So they've got North this week on Thursday night, which is huge. Then they host Carlton and then play against the Demons as well. So that last round, round 24 game could be for ladder position very, very, very easily. So, we'll see how we go. Anyway, so the 4, 5, 6 teams are Adelaide in 4, Brisbane 5th, Melbourne in 6th at 13 and 7. 14, 5 and 1 is Hawthorn standing alone there in 3rd. The Swans a game up on them, or half a game up on them, I guess, 15 and 5 in the 2nd spot. And Freo having salted away the top spot on the ladder, 18 and 2. 3 games up.
Flag mantle.
That's awesome.
Flag mantle.
Wharfie time. So
it is definitely Wharfie time.
With 4, 5 and 6 all tied on 13 and 7, and then 7 and 8, 1 game back of them. There's so many different permutations that can happen 4 through 8. And next week's going to be huge and some really fun games. And that's why it's like so weird and disappointing that you look at round 24 and like 2 games are actually that interesting and matter. So bit of a shame. Anyway, let's quickly give away some awards for this week's games. Gablet areas, I'm going to give this to Whoa Errol. He was the difference in that game. Like, him being back is massive. 34 and a goal, 10 score involvements, 7 clearances. And yeah, he's like the big difference between the Swans being really, really good and being great and terrifying. And God, he was good. But losing Rowbottom, that's another kick. But I don't know, Errol was fantastic for me. Love that. How about you, Jez?
I've gone with one of the hippie chippies from down Geelong way, Ollie Dempsey. 29 disposals and 2 goals, but he played a massive part in setting the game up early for Geelong.
Good.
And I feel like he goes under the radar because whenever Geelong are on, he's got a lot to do with it. He's that one that will, kick that goal that breaks the other team, or he'll have a part in the score. He gets up around the field. He's dangerous down forward. I think he's really underrated. Obviously Geelong probably rate him pretty highly because they play with him. But I thought he was unreal and was the one that set the game up for Geelong on Friday night, and they just sort of rolled on with it. And he's probably that barometer where if he's kept quiet, Geelong are normally pretty ordinary. I do have a special mention for 2 metre Peter in the game against Adelaide. He ended up with 6 goals, which is not a bad effort in a team that's getting smashed. So I'm happy with that one. You can't give him a Gablet areas because they got flogged, but it was nice to see him. There was a couple of years ago where he won our goal kicking and he was reasonably high in the Coleman And you thought, this is where his career is kicking off, and it just hasn't happened. But it's nice to see him get on the scoreboard and show what talent, what could have been with 2 metre Peter.
Yeah, I'll pay that. Who am I buying a beer this week? It's Brody Kemp. That 5-goal outing for him after being Spud of the Week last week. We lit a fire under him, Jez. How good was that? We got him up.
He must be listening. How you going, Brody?
He's just like, oh, Jim has lost all sorts of faith in me. I better show up this week and go bang.
Got to do it for Jim. Got to do it for Jim.
I'll buy him a couple of beers there. What about you, Jez? Who are you buying one?
Well, I'm going to go, we've spoken about him already, but I'm going to buy Josh Fraser a beer. It came out after the game that he'd lost his dad on Thursday and kept it quiet, kept the news quiet, which is a really hard thing to do if you're a part of the AFL these days. But he managed to keep the news quiet and put all the focus into his team. And it's a really selfless act, and it's not something that a lot of people would do to hold, and it's not like it's insignificant. It's his dad, like to be able to put that to one side and go out and coach such an important game and have them win the way they did and be such a have such an important role in that it's just amazing. So, and rest in peace to your old man, Josh. I think I didn't know him, but I know people who knew his old man from back in the primary school days. He was at Seville before they ended up at Mansfield. It's just it's a shit thing to happen. I lost my dad over 30 years ago, let's say that. So I do understand, and for him to be able to coach like that with such a loss is amazing. So I'll shout him whatever he wants from the bar.
Well done. Old mate, no mates for me this week. Rory Lobb still getting booed by Freo fans. Nothing better.
No, you're not allowed to boo. Don't boo.
It was amazing.
Why are we booing? The lobster.
There is just certainly something about Rory Lobb that just sets off a lot of other fan bases, but obviously former Freo player, they all still hate him, so that's pretty funny. Spud of the week. Easy one for me this week. Brad Close did absolutely nothing in that Cats game. He got benched at the end. They're just like, you're not doing anything. What are you doing, Brad? You're wearing sleeves. You're not going to kick a ball. He had 0 kicks. First time of his career, I think. He had 0 kicks. He had 4 handballs, and that was it. So, shocking game for Brad Close. How about you, Jess?
Didn't even get close to having a kick. Can't believe.
Crazy.
Jai, a miss. He, after having a pretty good run, he managed just the 6 disposals, and he did miss. He missed the 1 shot at goal he had and kicked it behind. I think he actually might have kicked a couple out in the full as well. But it didn't really hurt them because obviously Josh Tracy went berserk and a few others. But he seemed to be a bit off. I think he was well held by his defender. But you had the prancing pony going all Purple Hulk and Josh Tracy, going off, Luke Jackson, all those. He probably didn't need to stand up, but I just would have liked to have seen him at least kick 2 goals to help my multi get up. But anyway.
Oh, well. Honourable mention, obviously, to Jake Waterman, the J-Train, kicking 2 goals. 6.
Oh, yeah.
I
second that.
Pretty remarkable. And finally, better than Bootsma, Harry Dean, the obvious one for me because he kicked a goal and the place went absolutely ballistic. A, because it was a very good goal. B, it was his first goal of his career. And C, they actually kind of just needed that one just to keep them rolling in the right direction. Because there was a couple of moments, I think, where the Blues, Charlie Cameron missed a goal, Sam Draper missed a goal. He kicked it on the full. I don't know how he missed that set shot that he had. It was crazy.
Welcome to the Sam Draper experience.
Yeah. And Harry Dean at the other end, just out of absolutely nothing, like the most rubbish of rubbish goals you'll ever see, but he's managed to slot it through like reverse sort of check sidey just in the air. It was absolutely nuts. The rest of the Blues go crazy. The crowd goes absolutely wild. He's already a cult hero, 2-3/4 of the way through his first season, 4/5 of the way through his first season. I love him. So that was great. Harry Dean, what a legend. Jez?
Same game, same team. Jagger. We've obviously mentioned it, but one thing that struck me was he had 29 disposals and 2 goals. 29 goals would have been a fair feat. But 97% efficiency, Jim. that is just unheard of. He's going to win a Brownlow sooner rather than later. Especially now they look at the stats, but allegedly they don't look at the disposal efficiency yet. Maybe because Nick Dacos's isn't good enough, but I think this kid's going to be an absolute, if not already, going to be an absolute superstar, and was a massive part of your avalanche on Saturday night.
He was so good.
His name was mentioned a lot in those score involvements. So he's bloody Carlton week, I think, on
apparently
on Footy Unfilterated.
I'll take it. Got to get one after our disastrous end of this season, no doubt, where we lose all three. All right, some quick nah. Dacos, is he your Brownlow winner so far, Jez? Yeah, nah.
Yeah, he has to be.
I
can't see anyone beating him.
If Bont had have given me a little bit of something this week, I'd still say he was in with a bit of a chance because he's sort of got that consistency, but as a team, they've sort of been so up and down. And, the last little bit hasn't been maybe as good. A couple of, 2 weeks ago was amazing. Last week was all right. This week, just, Hayden Young was running with him, but Nakos getting past, even Oishin, and to be super solid was pretty good. I think he's got this one wrapped up. So
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 3 votes for that game because there wasn't really a standout. Like we've obviously mentioned Ollie Lord but there wasn't a super standout from Geelong, whereas Dacos, even though he was shadowed by Mullen, he still had 35 and was still their best player and was still in everything. And I think he had the Brownlow in the bag when they announced they were going to be looking at stats.
Yep. I agree. Jagger, rising star, nah.
Yeah, who else? No one's played a full season, I don't think, that would go and even actually played, but he's just out of control. His stats, I think you've written it there, 129 score involvements across his first 20 AFL games. That's crazy. Equal most with Joel Selwood, and we all know what happened with him. So I don't see how I'd love for it to be obviously one of the Essendon boys, but they just haven't played enough footy. And I think the only other one that could go close, but is Harry Dean.
The other one is Willem Dersmer out there in West Coast, and I think there was a case being made for him maybe about a month ago, and since then Jagger's just been absolutely awesome. So it's I think
that the way that Jagger has been such a massive part of their turnaround is very hard to ignore. So even if his stats did drop off, his impact on the game when they were no good, and then how he stepped it up again along with the rest of his team is just massive.
Yep.
So I can't see. He'd have to be $1 favourite, to be honest.
Yep. Charlie is going to win a third Coleman. Yeah, nah.
Well, unless Hawthorn start kicking the ball backwards to try and get the Wizard across the line, I think,
It's so Charlie's on 57, Ben King's 53, the Wizards 52. Gunston remarkably still on 49, which is just absurd. Then, so I wrote this out maybe a week or two ago, and Jai Miss was in absolutely rare vein of form and then has since just gone, whatever.
Nah.
And Tracy is right behind him. They're both tied on 48. So would have been kind of cool. I also expected Logan Morris to have a really big game against the Blues, just did not happen. And so he was the other one that I was sort of looking at, but he's now 10 goals off the pace. And that's a lot to make up in 3 weeks. So it sort of feels like maybe the Wizard, but he's already 5 goals back as well. Charlie's just sort of cruising along. I think he's got it in the bag.
And I think you look at who they're playing, the Hawks have got Brisbane. So, he'd have to have an absolute blinder to kick 5. And I just can't say. I mean, Charlie, they've also got Essendon in the last round. So... or second last round. Yep. So, there's every chance he kicks 10 and just completely seals it. So I think anyone who's in with a chance, if they're playing Essendon or Richmond, don't write them off. But other than that, I think it's all over Red Rover. Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's got Port, North and Essendon. I think he's okay. So
I think he'd be right.
Right. You've got one more there, Jez.
I do have one, yep. So obviously we're going to speak about this game, but whoever loses the Aaron Hamill Cup, St Kilda and Carlton on Sunday night. That's it. They're Dunsky for the year. Yeah, nah.
It's going to be really tough for the Blues because they've got two fairly difficult games where they play the Dogs and Freo. And, so I think if Carlton lose that one, it's really hard. The Saints then have, what was it? It was Gold Coast, I want to say, or something like that. No, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's Gold Coast, and I think their last game is a little bit harder. Hold on.
They got Richmond in round 23, and then round 24 Gold Coast.
It's not that hard.
So the Saints can still go 2 or 3 pretty easily, I reckon. So I don't think they're Dunsky, even if they do lose. Whereas the Blues having that tougher last 2 games makes it a little bit harder for them if they lose that. As I said, they could easily go 0-3 to finish off the year, and it gets a bit weird. So I'm going to say nah, because I think even if the Saints lose, they can probably still win those final 2 and stay right there with them. But that does mean that, it would then take, if Saints lose, they have to win those last 2 and hope that the Blues lose the other 2, or else that is it. And then, of course, it'd be very funny for GWS to come from absolutely nowhere and win all 3 of theirs and actually sneak through. So
let's before we move on, I just want to double check who. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Giants. They've got the Crows in the last round, so in Adelaide, and I'm pretty sure they've got the Eagles at home. So, look, stranger things have happened, Jim.
Yep.
With GWS,
Suns at home this week, and then what was it?
West Coast at
that's it.
home, and then Adelaide away. But
Tsunami.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited,
time.
Jim. I'm excited.
All right, Bruce.
The orange team.
I'm excited. Round 22. This is a really, really fun start to the week. Western Bulldogs, 16.5-point favourites against North Melbourne at Marvel. Like, 2 teams who desperately need like a settling win and just to feel good about themselves, I reckon. So, North just to sort of, give themselves a bit of optimism or something. If they can make this close. The Dogs are pretty hefty favourites there at 16.5. What do you reckon, Jez?
I think that line's too high. I'm going to take the Roos.
I'm going to take Kangaroos as well.
This could be, and I might be foreshadowing the best bet, but this could be a shootout. There could be very little defence played in this one.
Yeah, the Roos kicking woes really is a bit of a worry, but the Dogs, their injury problems are still just like hanging on them, and I don't know.
I mean, if Norton and or Paddy Waitman play, I think it's going to be a cracker. However, the Dogs have probably got a better defence, but they're going to need to score, and if they don't have Norton and Waitman, or at least one of them, it's going to be very hard to score. This is going to be. I think this is going to be a ripper of a game, to be honest with you, Jim. And I think that line's too high. I haven't seen anything from the Dogs that makes me confident in that.
Yep. And then another cracking Friday game, Brisbane Hawthorn, 2.5-point favourites for the Lions. This is really, really good. Up at the Gabba. Ooh-wee.
Yeah. I am going to take the Hawks. I think that the injuries we mentioned earlier, the injuries that Brisbane have copped to their defence against a very potent forward line. They've got so many options to run through there with Watson and Gunston and Big Mabsy. They've got Kelshire. They've got all these options to go through there, and their midfield kicks goals as well. Brisbane, I don't think they'd be too concerned if they keep it close and lose. I think they'd be a bit worried if they get blown out again, but I can't see that happening. But I think just their lack of some key personnel might hurt them here. So let's go Hawks.
That's why I'm going the Hawks as well. I think that backline of Brisbane being down to just bare bones really, really, really hurts. They'll get Ty Gallup back, I believe, from the suspension think it was 1 week,
I
wasn't it?
thought he got 3.
Was it 3? There you go.
Yeah, he
so
got
he's not
3
coming
for that.
back. That's what it was in the end. This is the problem when we do the show on Sunday nights, and then I'm like, I missed the thing.
Checked out, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's very few big bodies back there, and obviously Hipwood, and so something that I'm watching Hipwood play in the back line, like his ball usage is just nowhere near good enough coming out of the back half to make it sort of worthwhile. So I'm going the Hawks. Saturday, the Luke Jackson Bowl, Melbourne Freo. 6th versus 1st at the G. Can Freo do it? 13.5-point favourites of the Dockers. What do you reckon here, Jez?
Whoa, I'm going to go with the team that's only lost once at the G this year, and they love it even more when the sun's out. I haven't checked the weather, so I'm going to go with the Ds to cover. I think this one could be... I'd be interested to see how Freo approach the next 3 weeks, having sewn up top spot. I'd be interested to see if they rest anyone for the journey over east, and how that affects their game style, or if they just knuckle down and go, "No, we're gonna roll all the way in and just keep the momentum going." But I think that Melbourne are playing well enough to keep this one close, if not win. So I'm going to take the Ds to cover.
I like it. This is also the Jeff Farmer and the Jeff White
The
Bowl.
Whiz. The White Whiz Bowl.
You've just got you've got a lot of players who have played for both Melbourne and Freo, weirdly. But I'm taking, I think, Freo. I think they're just a little bit too good.
Ooh.
It's just
First one different, Jim. First one different.
13.5. It just feels a bit
It's a weird line, isn't it?
bit skinny. I think they might be a little bit too good, even if they come over here, because I feel like this will be. You talk about the final 3 weeks. This will be one of the ones where they look at it and go, "Look, we're going to have to win at the G at some point."
Very true.
And so
Very
let's
true.
come out and put another contender to the sword and just screw them up. So, yeah,
Yep.
I'm going to go the Dockers. I think they'll approach it in the right way. Sydney, Port Adelaide, 35.5-point favourites of the Swans against the Power, and you could not make that high enough for me. I'm going the Swans, even without
yep.
my man James.
Put me
Rudolph.
down for the Swans. No explanation needed.
Yeah, that's a smashing. Same goes for Geelong Essendon, 64.5. That's too low for me as well. I'm going the Cats. I think they could really. That's
Especially down there at Taxpayer
GMHBA,
Stadium.
yeah. But the only thing that would give you pause if this was maybe at the G, and it's like maybe Essendon keep it within 10 goals, but not down there.
Yeah.
So,
No.
sorry, Jez.
Yeah, Geelong for me. No, don't be sorry. I'll be happy if we cover,
And then the same
even if it's by a point.
The same thing also then goes for Adelaide Richmond, because this is at Adelaide Oval. This is a 57.5-point line, and I feel pretty good about Adelaide covering that again. Considering what we just saw them do to Essendon this week here in Melbourne at Marvel, I think Adelaide at home will. Do they get Fogg back this week, or is it another week that they miss?
I think it is this week. Yeah,
So,
but even without him, it's the thriller. The thriller. We played the thriller back into form on the weekend, so he might double up and go for 10. I'll go the Crows as well.
Nice. Sunday we have GWS Gold Coast, another expansion cup, and this. Look, if the Suns could somehow break out of their slump and like spoil GWS, I'd really appreciate it. Like, come on, Gold Coast. The amount of work I've put in for you over the years with my never dying, undying love of the Suns. If you could just do me a solid and beat GWS this week, that'd be super appreciated. So I'm going to go the Suns here, Jez. This is wishful thinking.
Ooh.
But I think, what is this, Canberra, I want to say? Yeah, it was in Canberra. Because it's not at NG, I think just weird stuff happens in Canberra. It's the same as Tassie. Come on, Suns. At least I'm taking the 18.5 and they can keep it close for me.
Well, I'm going to go based off a few of your theories, one of them being below the 28th parallel. So this is a game, Jim, that GWS should win, right? And Gold Coast are ordinary, tick. So I think GWS will probably do everything they can to lose this game and still win it. So I think the Suns are going to cover.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to win, but I think they're going to cover.
Yeah. In Canberra, it's just so tough to sort of figure out what might happen there. But the Suns going, below the parallel. They've been so bad, but come on. Keep them.
I think they're due, but this might be the one. But I don't know. I still don't know.
Now, this one's a weird one
It's
too.
funnier if they beat the Saints to knock them out of the finals. That would be awesome.
I'd very much appreciate the Suns to just keep winning. That's all they have to do.
But, yeah.
They actually have to start winning again because they haven't won since May.
Well, yes, that's a good correction there.
West Coast are only 21.5-point underdogs at home to Collingwood. So out at Optus Stadium, Sunday afternoon, 4:10 p.m. our time. 21.5 for a team that kicked 9 goals, 19 this week against a Pies team that doesn't have a backline at the moment. What do you reckon, Jez?
Well, as I currently am receiving a 4-pack from you, I'm going to guess that you're probably going to go the Pies, but I reckon West Coast can cover.
Yeah.
And based on that theory of the injuries for I think Collingwood will be too good, but I wouldn't be surprised if West Coast pull off a little upset. So I'm going to go with the Wet Coast Eagles.
I don't like that you talked your way into my way of thinking there because I was going West Coast 100%.
Oh.
I'm like, just they play strange games over there against like kind of no matter who they're playing, right? And I think
and West Coast kept them. Were in it for the whole game in the gold number game. And in case you missed it, there's a fella with a basketball background who is breaking the league record for most games played this week again. So just in case you missed that, you heard it here first.
Is it Paddy Mills plays footy now? Awesome.
Ben Simmons.
To be honest, Essendon could use him.
Well, we might have said former basketball background player as our coach, if you believe some people in the media.
Nice.
Righto. Not Paddy Mills.
So we're both going West Coast, out of West Coast to cover the 21.5. I mean, at home, anything can happen in a West Coast game over there. And then the big one, 7:20 p.m. Sunday evening, St Kilda, Carlton. Ridiculous. I hate the Saints so much.
Have you got faith in your Blues, Jim?
I have faith in them after seeing them play the last 2 weeks at Marvel and play the way they did at Marvel. It's like getting Harry Mackay back unexpectedly this week very much obviously helped them against the Lions. They had that focal point. Brody Kemp just ate because of that. Gov was very good because of that. And Harry, just the way he leads, the way he was marking against the Lions was awesome. And the Saints, if Jay Sauce's dislocated shoulder means that he can't go, if TDK can't go as well, there's still question marks about Rowan Marshall. The Blues could have a shot. So I've got a bit of belief, and I just hate the Saints. I hate them so much. The stealing of our players, but I think the worst one for me was the game that they beat Carlton in 2 years ago, I want to say, in the final round of the season, where the Blues had to rely on Freo to beat Port, or Port to beat Freo or somebody out west, because Jack Higgins Carlton stopped dead in another Michael Voss special, and the Saints ran them down, and Jack Higgins kicked this winning goal in like the last 30 seconds of the bloody game. The Blues.
There's a bloke with a punchable face.
Oh yeah, how did Jack Higgins not?
We missed that one. Jeez, that's a punchable face. I think I'd have him over Papley.
Yep. I think that's it. All comes down. I think I'm going to take the Blues. I mean, I had the faith last week in the end that they would cover -4.5. Let's go.
Yeah, I think the Saints have got too many injuries, and even if those players get up, I just don't think they're playing well enough. And now that Carlton are 10th, again, I'm following some of your theories there, Jim. St Kilda can't beat teams above them, so let's go, or in the top 10. So let's roll with the Blues.
Jack Higgins kicked 2 goals, 1 last week. Naz also, he kicked 3 goals in the end in that Sydney game. It was also, under a bit of an injury cloud as well. So I don't know. This is probably the week to rest him, Ross. Just let him take a load off, I reckon. Same goes for TDK. The funniest part would be if Liam Stocker comes back and kills us, but anyway. Classic.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. So I picked up, I think from last week, I picked up another 2. I think I had 5 to 3 last week. Having, changed from when we did the show on the Sunday night, as I predicted that I was going to change at least 1 or 2, and that's exactly what happened. Sent through the message to you on Thursday, like basically
about 10 minutes into the first quarter.
Like, wait a minute. But the thing is, I had posted the graphic hours earlier, and I'm like, oh wait, I never told Jez. I should tell him that I've changed 2 of my picks. But so 88 to 92, I owe Jez 4 beers at the moment. There's only
one different
this. Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? That's all right. That's all right. So Slevo's Punters Club for this week. How did we go last week? Essendon Adelaide over, I believe, hit because Adelaide had 143 or whatever by themselves. The other one was Logan Morris 4+, and that didn't happen because Harry Dean is unbelievably awesome and just shuts down every key forward. So, whoops. This week, I think there's a big one. I mean, you hit on it earlier. Western Bulldogs, North Melbourne's over. Should be right there. Brisbane Hawthorn, though, I want to go the Whiz to kick at least 3, I think, in that one.
Yeah, that's a big call. I like it.
I think the Lions are just going to be run a bit ragged up at the Gabba. I think he sort of pops off and just, get me to 3, Nick Watson. That'd be kind of handy. I don't know what to sort of make of any Carlton Saints ones. Like Cripps, maybe 25 and a goal as well. He has been monstering those clearances and stuff at Marvel, and they'll need a goal.
I don't think they've got anyone who can go with him either.
So that'll be interesting. But I'll take the Whiz 3+ up against the Lions, who are just
nice
reeling.
I like that one.
Yeah. How about you there, Jez? You had Jordan Dawson, 30 disposals and a goal. He got the 30,
but not the goal.
Did not have the goal. And Tex 5+. Instead, it was Thriller who went out and kicked. Did he end up with 5?
Yep.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
So there you go. One key forward against Essendon each week. So boom.
Yeah. Well, and look, they both get to have a crack against the Tigers this week, but I'm going to leave them alone. This week, I am going to go with a Saturday line triple multi-bet. So I'm going to take all 3. Let's take out the Melbourne and Freo game. And I'm going to take Sydney, Geelong and Adelaide all to cover their lines.
I like that a lot.
Easily. So I think it might not get you a huge amount back, but I think it's a pretty good. You'll probably double your money on it.
Yep, that's a good one. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, I think that Adelaide Richmond one, like Rankin with 25 and 2 or something, just as he runs rampant over the Tigers, is probably not a bad look either. Maybe Thriller to just back up and have another big night and kick 4. But I think that's it. Is that it? Is that it? Done.
That is it.
Oh, I'm going to press the button.
I'm going to get back to cricket training.
Nice one. It's the classic. All right, this is it for round 21. We've done so much of this season that it's crazy. We've only got 3 weeks left, Jess. So
unreal.
Round 22 preview. That's it in the bag. So make sure you're following us on all the socials. The return of the power rankings this week was glorious and very fun and quite funny, I thought. I would think that because I do them. We'll have some other stuff.
I think there's a few people out there who don't quite agree or maybe... but yeah,
here we are.
Just have fun, people.
It's fine. Just everyone chill. Make sure you subscribe on your podcast app of choice, on the YouTube. Jump in the comments. Send us any DMs for Yeah Nahs, anything else. Just say g'day as well if you like it. Just, let us know. Be much appreciated. But make sure you rate, review, subscribe on your podcast apps. That does really help out. Chuck a rating in there. Chuck a review in there. Go. I don't know how much I don't like how much Jim talks about the 10th place team in the AFL, but yeah, sucked in.
Yeah.
5 stars. It's all good.
But just that bit, the 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. We're all good. How about you, Jazz? Jazz, anything else there at the end?
Just keep losing, Essendon. Don't give up that number 1 pick. Finals for the Wanturna South under 15s this weekend. So they finished top of the ladder, even though they got done by a point on the weekend. So yeah, we'll have finals kicking off on Sunday for my youngest son.
Lovely.
And hopefully they can get themselves into a grand final. And yeah, that'd be awesome. Other than that, it's just business as usual, Jim.
Love it.
Just living the dream.
Love that. And yeah, the little addendum at the end, I think the squid got his Auskick medal.
Hell yeah.
And he's like, Dad, how many medals did you get for footy? I'm like, none.
Yep.
For a 7-year-old, he's a bit bloody lippy. I'll tell you that much.
I like it.
He has not let me forget it. So anyway. But that's it. All right. Until next week, stay off the rubbish gear. It's Footy Unfilterated. We'll see you next week.
See yous.
I can't